Good evening, good evening. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new Carolina Panthers Talk video brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. My name is Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. So, for this video, I want to touch on two things. First off, I want to look at an article that is pretty much like a little Carolina Panthers mini camp, or not mini camp, training camp preview. So, gonna go over that, and gonna go over what they have listed as the projected 53-man roster for the Carolina Panthers, and go into that. So, got quite a little bit to discuss, but let's go ahead and get started with this Panthers training camp preview. So, of course, David Newton, the writer, posted this earlier the morning of July 24th. There was a couple of questions that were asked, or not more so a couple of questions, but mainly some main topics when it comes to Panthers training camp. And like I said, I'll put the link to this article in the description. But anyway, the Carolina Panthers will be opening up NFL training camp. Oh, they're actually opening up training camp on Tuesday at Wofford College, of course, Spartanburg, South Carolina. So, few things to look at. So, starting off, the biggest question is Bryce Young ready to lead the offense? And it says here that Bryce Young was the number one overall pick in the NFL draft and showed command of the offense during off-season workouts, but he'll have to prove he can continue to do so in pads. How he handles a real pass rush and defense that game plans for him will be the last real test. He has passed all the other tests so far. Another thing that was pointed out in this section is, it says, another question is whether cornerbacks J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson can avoid injuries. Both have missed double-digit games the past 2 seasons, and Horn suffered a left ankle/foot injury during OTAs that sidelined him. With that pair, this defense has a chance to be elite. Without them, this unit is vulnerable. Facts. Definitely facts, which is why Carolina Panthers, Scott Fitterer, Coach Ajaro, y'all need to hone in on a cornerback out of free agency. Y'all need a third. Y'all need a third. A lot of folks want to say, oh, we need another wide receiver, or we need another edge rusher. No, we need another cornerback. I don't care if we're running the 3-4 defense or 4-4 or 4-3. I don't care. We need another cornerback. We already experienced what happened last season when Horn and Jackson went down. Do y'all want that to happen again? Did you see how things went after that happened with Keith Taylor and C.J. Henderson? Do you want that to happen again? We need to get another good stud cornerback, which I'll get into that a little bit later, but that needs to happen. Plain and simple as that. Okay, next up, it says most compelling position battle is outside linebacker. Interesting. It says, and I quote, it would have been Young versus Andy Dalton a few months ago, but Young already has been elevated to QB1, and that isn't going to change. There you go. So let's go with the battle between Marquise Haynes Sr. and Yetur Gross-Matos, or a player to be named later, for the outside linebacker spot opposite Brian Burns. Haynes had the edge after offseason workouts, but that was without pads. If neither he nor Gross-Matos takes command of that spot, the Panthers will probably add a veteran here. they may do so regardless. The success of their new 3-4 system depends on edge rushers pressuring and sacking the quarterback. There are a few out there who could help. Among them are Justin Houston, who's 34, Yannick Ngakoue, who's 28, Jadeveon Clowney, who's 30, and Kyle Van Noy, who's 32. Now, my thoughts with this, yes, the 3-4 defense relies heavily on pass rushing and being able to get to the quarterback. My thing is this. While having Justin Houston, Jadeveon Clowney, if you ask me if I had to pick out of that bunch, it would be Jadeveon Clowney. But I still really believe that we need to get another cornerback. I really do. I really do. But the thing that sucks about this is the 3-4 system uses 3 D linemen and 4 linebackers, 2 cornerbacks, and 2 safeties. So like I said, I'm not a fan of the 3-4, but if Coach Ajaro can make it work like he did in Denver, then, I mean, so be it. But I'm not a fan of the 3-4. I just got to keep it real with y'all. Moving on. Next section, the player with the most to prove is wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr. It says here, the 2021 second-round pick out of LSU has only 45 catches for 628 yards and 1 touchdown in the past 2 seasons combined. His lack of production led Carolina to use a second-round pick in April on Ole Miss's Jonathan Mingo. The foundation of Carolina's offense under Coach Frank Reich is to spread the ball around. Marshall needs to be a big part of that behind top receivers Adam Thielen and DJ Chark for that to happen. Reich noted during OTAs that Marshall showed the potential last season to be a big play receiver, which he has done. He did that by averaging 17.5 yards per reception, but the key is consistency, and until Marshall shows that, there will be questions. Okay, this is totally valid. I know he's kind of started off a little rocky, especially with health issues. Hasn't had a whole ton of playing time, but he has made some big plays, just not a whole lot of them, but he has made some. And I believe that the potential is there. And I think under some good coaching, I think we will see Terrace Marshall Jr. explode, or at least have his best season to this day. That's what I truly feel. And I think with the squad that the Panthers have, their coaching squad, I think he has the potential. And not only just him, Jonathan Mingo, DJ Chark, Adam Thielen, Laviska Shenault. I think they all have a chance to be effective with this coaching staff. But Terrace Marshall Jr., the player with the most to prove, I can definitely believe that. I figured it was going to be close between him and Shi Smith, but I don't know. Shi Smith might not make it on the squad, but we'll see. And then the most impactful offseason addition, Bryce Young, which is obvious. It says, and I quote, "No question, the pieces are in place for this team to be a factor in the NFC South. Facts. But it all hinges on how well the rookie out of Alabama plays. If Young can avoid the typical rookie mistakes and become a playmaker instead of a play killer, the Panthers have a chance to end a string of 5 straight seasons without a winning record for a trip to the playoffs. That's the plan. Early signs are positive. Young has earned the respect of the locker room and quickly showed the traits. Quick processing, sound decision-making, accuracy that made him the top pick can translate to the NFL despite his size of 5'10", 204 pounds. As veteran wide receivers, Chark said during off-season workouts, everybody is here for him, and we believe he can take us to some really high places. That was DJ Chark's quote. Yeah, no question about it. Bryce Young was our biggest piece over the offseason, which, Carolina took the big risk and gave up the 9th spot and went and got the number 1 spot in the draft and capitalized with Bryce Young. So it really just comes down to how this works out. This is another quarterback Carolina's drafted in the first round with that first pick, just like with Cam Newton. So I really feel that if everything goes well with Bryce Young, this team can really blossom. And not only that, NFC South is wide open. So they gotta go in. They gotta go in hard, and they gotta really make this season count. They gotta make this season count and get back to being the Carolina Panthers that were once a threat for many seasons. So we shall see. Okay, before we get to the 53-man roster projection talk, here's a quick word on the sponsor, Game Beauty. As you continue to watch and enjoy Blitzball Champ gaming content here on the U to the Tube, be sure you take a moment to check out the link to the description for Game Beauty. Game Beauty offers a variety of video game themed makeup and cosmetic products. They offer items such as eyeshadow palettes, elemental pearl highlighters, eyeshadow brushes, and even non-makeup items such as these graphic t-shirts. They also have collaboration items like this Persona 5 Royal Limited Edition makeup collection, as you can see here, which you can get it as a full collection, or you can get different bundles of this collection as well as different pieces separately. Also, Game Beauty offers free domestic and international shipping to most countries for orders over $60. And be sure to use the promo code Blitzball_champ, all in caps, and you can get 10% off of your order. So be sure to take advantage of that nice little discount. And now, back to our regularly scheduled video. Enjoy. Okay, so David Newton wrote about the 53-man roster projection for the 2023 Carolina Panthers. He had mentioned, before I get into this, he had mentioned that Coach Frank Reich likes the roster. He believes that the foundation is there to make Bryce Young an immediate success and give the Panthers a shot at winning the NFC South. That's wide open, which is obvious that it's wide open. He says the biggest need is an edge rusher opposite Brian Burns, so don't be surprised if a veteran is added. I really still believe that cornerback is the bigger need than edge rusher. In all honesty, I think it's cornerback. I really, truly believe it's cornerback. But we'll see. But anyway, here's the 53-man roster projection. Quarterbacks. 3. Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, Matt Corral. And it says, it didn't take Young long to be elevated past Dalton to QB1 on the depth chart, and there's no reason to think that will change going into the season. Young has done nothing but prove why he is the number 1 pick. The question is whether Matt Corral, a third-round pick in 2022, is worthy of a roster spot. So far, he has been. Coach Reich said the former Ole Miss star made significant strides during OTAs. That's a big positive. That's a very big positive. So really good to hear. He seems to, hopefully be able to bounce back from his Liz Frank injury. And word is that he's supposed to be getting a lot of reps in the preseason. So hopefully he gets a chance and he makes the roster. But honestly, I have to agree with this. I think it's going to end up being Bryce Young, Matt Corral, and Andy Dalton, for sure. I truly believe those are the 3 to go into this season to make it to the 53-man roster. Okay, running backs. So they have 3, which are Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, and Raheem Blackshear. It says the top 3 are solid, and the Panthers expect Sanders to take on a bigger role as a receiver, like he did during his rookie season with the Philadelphia Eagles. But this is an area the Panthers should look to add another player before the season, if for anything, to have a power back and more depth. Now, I can kind of sort of agree with that to an extent. I can agree with that to an extent. Here's the thing. From what we currently have on the roster, the 3 power backs that kind of stand out are Chuba Hubbard, Cameron Peoples, and Spencer Brown. Me personally, I would like to see what Cameron Peoples can do in the preseason. That's a name that I have my eye on. I would really like to see how he does in the preseason because I think he has a lot of potential. He played really well at Appalachian State. He almost had 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. And, of course, Chuba Hubbard. Like I said, Chuba Hubbard, I feel like he's the biggest of those 3 backs. So, I mean, I like these 3. Personally, I do like these 3. But I can kind of understand maybe having more of a power back. But, Raheem Blackshear, I think we'll see him a lot more in special teams, personally, as a returner. But, I think Raheem Blackshear can still do some damage, even in the running game. But overall, I like these 3. But I want to keep my eye on Cameron Peoples and see if maybe he can make the team via practice squad or maybe even make the 53-man roster. Who knows? But, we'll see. But I can be on board with those 3 running backs of Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, and Raheem Blackshear. Okay, let's get into the wide receivers. So for wide receivers, the projection is 7, which are Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Terrace Marshall Jr., Jonathan Mingo, Shi Smith, Damiere Byrd, and Laviska Shenault Jr. Okay? It says many winced when the Panthers traded DJ Moore to Chicago in the deal to acquire the number 1 pick. But this group may be better than it has been in years with the additions of Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and Jonathan Mingo. Thielen offers the vocal leadership Moore never did, and Mingo has star potential. The question is whether Marshall finally will play up to the potential he showed as a second-round pick out of LSU in 2021. Overall, I think that is a wide receiver core that makes the most sense. I think that makes the most sense. And like I said earlier, with Terrace Marshall Jr. having the most to prove, I do agree with that. But I really feel like with this wide receiving core, there's a lot to spread around. Like I said, Adam Thielen, veteran, DJ Chark, definitely an impact player. Terrace Marshall Jr., I think, has big play potential and just needs to be consistent and stay healthy, and I think he'll do damage. Jonathan Mingo, which they've said that he's impressed the coaching staff. Shi Smith, now he's another one that I think we'll see mostly on special teams, but Shi Smith has made a big play or two. So we just have to see if he can get some opportunities in the offense. Damiere Byrd, I think we'll mostly see him on special teams. And Laviska Shenault Jr., I could see him as, a 3 or 4, especially maybe kind of the Deebo Samuel, Curtis Samuel role of the team. But I really like this wide receiving core. I know a lot of folks are making fun of it. Analysts are looking down on it. But I think they can work with this wide receiving core. That plus the coaching staff that they have, I really think they can work with this. So I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with these 7. All right, let's go to the tight ends. So the projection is 4, which are Hayden Hurst, Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas, and Giovanni Ricci. It says Carolina finally has a receiving threat in Hayden Hurst, something it hasn't had since Greg Olson's last season here in 2019. That's important because a big target, particularly over the middle, will be key to the development of Bryce Young. Hurst's 52 receptions last season with the Cincinnati Bengals is 12 more than Tommy Tremble and Ian Thomas had combined last season. So you best believe getting Hayden Hurst was big for the Carolina Panther offense. I can definitely be on board with these 4. I know Giovanni Ricci will probably be playing more of that fullback role. But Hurst, Tremble, and Thomas, I think they can work with. Tommy Tremble is versatile, can block and can catch. Ian Thomas, he's made a play or two, but he's got to do more. He's done some stuff in the run game, but he's got to overall do more. But I think with this new offense, I think we can see the tight ends being used more, and then you got a reliable target in Hayden Hurst. So I think those are a good 4. Okay, offensive line. So they got 9 players listed for offensive line, which are Ikai Mikwanu, Taylor Moton, Bradley Bozeman, Brady Christensen, Austin Corbett, Cade Mays, Cameron Irving, Chandler Savala, and Michael Jordan. Okay, those are the 9. It says Austin Corbett, who had the torn ACL, has already been ruled out to start the season. So finding a replacement at right guard on a line that returns the rest of the starters intact is a big question. Look for it to come down to Mays or Jordan, but don't be surprised to see rookie Savala make a push. Overall, this is the most talented and deepest group Carolina has had since the 2015 Super Bowl run. Now, something that was brought to my attention, shout out to Corey McDaniel of Keep Pounding. Apparently, the Washington Commanders have cut Andrew Norwell. That's what I've heard. I heard that he's been cut. Now, I would love, love to consider bringing back Andrew Norwell. Yeah. I would totally love to see a return of Andrew Norwell. So, something to consider. But let me see, how old is Andrew Norwell right now? He can't be that old. 31? Oh shoot. Yeah. Give me Andrew Norwell. Shoot. He's played in 128 games and started 127 games. Shoot, I would see how much he costs. He would be perfect to fill in for Austin Corbett. Are you kidding me? Shoot. Not to mention, if need be, he can also play the tackle position. I know he mainly played guard, but, I think he could definitely, he's versatile. So I would consider Andrew Norwell. Let me see what kind of contract he had. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what kind of contract he had. Okay, he had originally had a 2-year, $10 million contract. Wow. I mean, have to see how much he would be willing to take, because I mean, I would keep an eye out for him. See what's up. That's one name I would not mind returning to Carolina. But I definitely do agree that it probably will come down to Cade Mays. Michael Jordan, I'm not too comfortable with as a starter. Chandler Zavala, I wouldn't be against that. I mean, him and Ikaime Kwanu played together at NC State, so there's chemistry already there. So, I mean, I think it's a small hole in the O-line with Corbett being out, but because there is a lot of depth and they did their homework in the offseason, I think we should be fine at O-line. I think we should be fine. So, we'll see, but I don't think that will be a big issue. All right, let's go to defensive line. So they got 6, which are Derek Brown, Shai Tuttle, Henry Anderson, Deshaun Williams, Bravion Roy, Marquand McCall. It says, how Brown adjusts from tackle to end as Carolina transitions from a 4-3 base to a 3-4 is key. The 7th pick of the 2020 draft is the most high profile of the group. He has the makeup to excel in this scheme where ends need to make a big push to free the outside linebackers to get pressure. Overall, Carolina has done a nice job of bringing in role players to make this scheme work. And as I said, I'm not a fan of the 3-4, but if they got the personnel to make it work, so be it. Really don't have anything else to say about the D-line, to be honest with you. My thing is, if they brought in the personnel to make it work, then so be it. Okay, linebacker. Right now they have 9. So it's Brian Burns, Marquise Haynes Sr., Shaq Thompson, Frankie Louvu, Yetur Gross-Matos, Brandon Smith, DJ Johnson, Amari Barno, and Camus Groiger-Hill. It says the big question here was whether to keep 9 or 10 because this group is key in the 3-4 and special teams. Burns should excel at one outside linebacker spot. How confident the players are in Haynes and Gross-Matos opposite him will determine whether a veteran is added. Thompson should excel in the middle as he transitions from the outside. Ugh. Makes me a little nervous with the shifting around. Does make me nervous, but I just hope Coach Ajaro knows what he's doing with the scheme. But he's done it before in Denver and has had a top 10 defense. So I guess this is one of those where we got to trust the process, I guess. But that linebacker core makes sense. It just, like you said, we'll have to see if maybe they consider adding a veteran. I mean, it could still happen, but we'll see. All right, cornerback. Now this is the big one. This is the big one. Cornerbacks. They have 5. J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson, C.J. Henderson, Stanley Thomas Oliver III, Keith Taylor Jr. That's it. It says health is the biggest issue here. Horn has missed 18 of 34 games the past 2 seasons and suffered a left ankle and foot injury during OTAs that sidelined him again. He should be ready for training camp. But having him and Jackson, who has been limited to 21 starts the past 2 seasons because of injuries, will be key. With them, this is a deep and talented group. The key is they have to stay healthy. But here's the thing, y'all. They need depth. And we don't have good depth at the cornerback position. C.J. Henderson and Keith Taylor are not it. Stanley Thomas Oliver III, I mean, he hasn't really played enough of that position in the NFL so far. He's mostly been special teams. So they really need another cornerback. They need a big name, or at least another veteran like stud cornerback. They need it. They really, really need it because this is not good depth. And we already experienced the consequence of that last season. So we don't want to make that same mistake again. So Scott Fitterer, y'all got to do something. Y'all please address this issue. Address this hole. Or else y'all are going to be sorry. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Safety position. So there's 4. Von Bell, Xavier Woods, Jeremy Chin, Jamie Robinson. It says the addition of Bell not only improved the talent level, it freed up Chin to play multiple positions that should be key for this defense. Chin spent most of OTAs in the big nickel spot, but he can cover deep, play outside linebacker, and create matchup problems for teams that have standouts at the tight end and in the slot. So yeah, you got a benefit there with Chin. And then the rest of the safety room, yeah, that looks pretty solid. Xavier Woods, Von Bell. We'll see if how much we see of Jamie Robinson. But honestly, not too worried about the safety position. I think that's pretty much set. Not worried about that. And then specialists, 3 players. The 3 players that matter the most in this department. Punter, Johnny Hecker. Kicker, Eddie Pinheiro. Long snapper, the usual, J.J. Jansen. Says this group is as solid as it gets. The biggest offseason question was whether to go with Pinheiro, who missed 2 game-winning kicks against Atlanta last season, or Zane Gonzalez coming off of a groin injury. They went with Pinheiro, whose 33 field goals last season were the second most for a season in team history behind John Casey's 37 in 1996. So, yeah, even though Eddie Pinheiro had those 2 really bad missed kicks, one was a field goal, one was an extra point, in the Atlanta game, he did bounce back, and he didn't miss another kick since then. So, I can understand why they decided to keep him for another season as the main guy. Zane Gonzalez. Zane is really good, but health is his big issue. That's one thing with him, is his health has been a big issue for him. And J.J. Jansen, I mean, that one was obvious. But here's the thing. 33 field goals. The hope is that'll be much less, and there'll be more touchdowns and extra points than field goals. Not saying that field goals don't count. They most certainly do. But when you can finish drives with touchdowns over field goals, makes it much easier for the kicker. Because all he has to do is worry about kickoffs and kicking extra points. And when you can do that for a kicker, you make his job easier. Much, much easier. But that is the projected 53-man roster, according to David Newton. I think it's pretty key. I think it's pretty on point overall. I don't think it'll match 100% by the time that it comes. But I'd say that's pretty close. It's a pretty good prediction, if you ask me. But anyway, also, let's not forget, training camp. It's getting ready to start up. And of course, the schedule, I'll reiterate. You got July 26th, 27th, 29th, the 31st, and then August, you have August 1st, August 2nd, which is Fan Fest. I'll be there. August 4th, August 5th, 6th, 8th, and the 9th and 10th are both joint practices with the New York Jets. So those are the training camp practices. But yeah, I'll be at the August 2nd Fan Fest, so definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Don't forget to check out the link to Game Beauty, and let me know what y'all's thoughts are about the training camp preview, and what your thoughts are on the 53-man roster projection for the Carolina Panthers. Let me know what your thoughts are. What are your projections just as of now? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell while you're at it, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. For another Carolina Panthers talk brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube, my name is Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed evening, and I will see y'all in the next video. Take care. Good night, everybody.